Hi everybody, sitting here in the big green chair. I must tell you, this chair, and I've got another one over there, it's a worn Chesterfield tub chair, and you know, you can see it showing its age. Well, I don't call it age, I call it patina. It's lovely, but it's very old. And I got these two chairs from Jim Elder, one of our sponsors on the show. Must be 25 years ago. I was in his art gallery, which is also his auction room on Melbourne Street. He's got a lovely office up the top with he had these two beautiful chairs and other bits and pieces and things. And I said, "What beautiful chairs!" And he said, "Oh, do you like them? I'm selling them. If you'd like to buy them, make an offer." And I did, and the rest is history. And I've moved them around the country. Everywhere I go, I take my beautiful green Chesterfield tub chairs. They're wonderfully comfortable. Sometimes a little tricky to get out of, I must admit. But that's all right. That's all right. Peter Clayton's behind the camera. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Thank you for joining us in the Court of Public Opinion. It's a Wednesday. We finished up the program yesterday talking about the climate change. Well, I call it crap or whatever. Let's just call it the climate change con, the media climate con. The government has a determination to get us to purchase electric cars. Putting a lot of effort, a lot of money into it. Whoa. It's the same sort of irrational nonsense that went on with The Voice. We know best. We know what is good for you. We know what you want. And in fairness, it is not just this Labour government. It's various governments all over the world. But listen, it's kind of like groupthink or group insanity or something. The only reason these seasoned car makers are putting resources into electric cars is the huge government subsidies, again I say all over the world, that are being pushed into these companies. Who is going to say no to all this money? We'll subsidise the manufacture, we'll subsidise the sale, we'll subsidise your losses. But of course, in their mind, it is all for the good of the planet. But nevertheless, it's not their money. It's your money. It's my money. Listen to this, because it might not surface anywhere else. But you can Google it. More than 1,400 luxury electric vehicles are being recalled in Australia at the moment, amid warnings that their batteries could short-circuit and catch fire without being driven. Worse, of course, if you have a garage attached to your house and this thing is under your roof. The warning follows a recall of more than 140,000, yes, let me say it again, 140,000 Mini Cooper vehicles issued by manufacturer BMW worldwide earlier this very month. The Transport Department warned the software defect that affected 1,408 cars, I think that was right, 1,408 cars in Australia, had the potential to increase the risk of serious injury or death to the vehicle occupants. The high voltage battery management software has insufficient protection for short circuits or short circuit events. As a result, if a short circuit occurs, it would lead to a vehicle fire while the car is driving, or is parked, or is in fact in your very garage under your roof. Now this is disgraceful. This to my knowledge, is not being made widely public, or certainly not widely enough. Who in God's name would go out and buy an electric car being confronted with that sort of information? This is not on the front page of every newspaper, and it should be. It is not the lead story of every news bulletin, and it should be. I don't understand it. It looks like they're all part of a conspiracy. Now, I'm not one for conspiracy theories, but I do recognize the narrative. And people do not, in a journalistic sense, seem to have the courage to speak out against that narrative. Standing up and saying the emperor has no clothes takes courage. You only have to research, I'll tell you, problems with electric vehicles. You know, problems with electric vehicles. Sit down with a large glass of something and a couple of sandwiches, or because you need to go through a fair bit of material. So why would your Australian government spend your taxpayer dollars on subsidising this ridiculous nonsense? Why are they so keen to put us, citizens, in harm's way? I can tell you in one word: ideology. Just like The Voice. I cannot imagine these people will get re-elected, but God help us. God help us. Well, on the subject of cars, this is a game changer. After some 40 years, ladies and gentlemen, it's the end of an era for the CD player in a car. No new models will be sold with CD players. The last car maker calls time on the ever-popular entertainment system. It's been a feature of cars for as long as I can remember. Well, certainly the last 40 years. Certainly 40 years. It'll disappear entirely from new models, and I think plenty of drivers will be angry about that. The in-car CD player is officially dead. The last manufacturer offering one in a vehicle has discontinued its availability. They're going to switch to God. I don't know. Well, if they switch to God, it would probably be a good idea. Some streaming device where you're probably not likely to find God. Surely all of these extra buttons or touch screen stuff that you have to fiddle with what do they call it? An infotainment screen menu. You know, switching from one artist to another. Maybe don't like that song. Some of whom, you know, the artists you will never have heard of, and you'll probably never hear of them again. Now, I don't understand. It's the endless pursuit of the perfect at the expense of the good. What do you think? Call me on Friday. Call me on Friday. Homeschooling has jumped remarkably in the last few years. Homeschooling we hardly ever heard of. Homeschooling was something that kind of fringe dwellers or extremists did. You know, the Brethren or I don't know, the Amish or I don't know. In 2018, I think it was, fewer than 14,000 pupils were being homeschooled. Today, 43,000 parents are choosing to homeschool their children. And may I say, I don't blame them. Hard work, but I don't know that you'd want to leave these young, impressionable minds in a classroom being ruled over by these people who have no enthusiasm for Australia, no pride in Australia, no patriotism, nothing but the black armband view of history. I can understand it. If I was in your position with young kids, I would probably opt to do the same thing. Or I would struggle to send them to a private school and make sure that I was cognizant of everything that went on. A big response from the story we did last week on charities. You remember? I mean, it was a simple plea for transparency. That's what it was. An initiative that could be implemented today. And that was simply that all charities have to declare how much of every dollar goes to the cause for which the money was collected. Pretty simple. I mean, is it 2%? 5%? 20? 50? 70%? I could see people using that as a marketing tool. We give 70% of everything we collect to the cause. People would be much more keen to support such a cause. Why the resistance? As I said to you last week, why the resistance? And why is the government so reluctant to do anything about it? And particularly, as I said to you last week, there's no law that says that a charity has to give even 1 single cent to the cause. Go figure. As far as I'm concerned, the only reason they won't do this is that the charities look at it and think to themselves, people assume everything goes to the cause. Let me give you, and it doesn't. But let me give you an example here. And I'm only talking about this because it is a huge business. $200 billion a year kind of big business. Now let me give you a case study here, one that I really know about. The Smith family is a great example. I was on the board of the Smith family here in South Australia for 10 years when I was at 5DN. And I remember we were very proud as a board of this. 100% of every dollar we collected went to the cause. And you know why? How could we do that? How? Well, we had very clever business people running. Well, they invented the Smith family in Sydney, and they had this core set of values that sprang from that heritage. All the overheads, administration, everything was covered by the businesses that we had set up. And one of them, the best one, was a waste material. It was made of, old rags and things, and we had a process that turned this waste material into underfelt. And it was bloody good underfelt. Under carpets, you know what I mean? A very profitable sideline. Did the job. And I guess it still does. But there are others, like the Christmas party for special children. You may have heard about that. It was here in South Australia. I don't think they're here now. But they are big in other states. And the deal is, if I can get it right, and if there's something I say here that's wrong, I apologise, but this is as I understand it. The deal is that they have a sales force, fairly large one. They go out to businesses and outlets and restaurants and shops, department stores, you name it, garages, people who change tyres, you name it. And they say, you donate to the Christmas party for special children. We have associations with radio stations and television stations all over the country, and depending on how much you donate, you will get so many acknowledgements or mentions or thank yous as a supporter for these special children. Terrific. Fantastic. Now let me say here that they are not doing anything illegal. Yes, there is a wonderful Christmas party for special children every year. I haven't been to one, but terrific, I'm told. Terrific. I was curious. I rang them. I think they're head office in Queensland, and I said, look, I'd like to get involved. How does it work? And the sales lady ran through the various financial steps. All good. You know, you could come in at $500, you would come in at $1,000, $10,000. And then I said, well, what happens when you have raised enough money for the party? You know, the Christmas, the whole point is the Christmas, but oh yes. Well, what happens when you've raised enough money for the Christmas party for special children? What happens then? And she said, quite honestly, oh, look, we are a business. We keep on collecting. Oh. So, let's say the Christmas party for special kids cost $200,000. After 12 months of collecting, and I don't know, would there be $1 million in the kitty? 2 million? Because this is Australia-wide. Oh, yes, of course there are overheads. Yes. This is a business. I understand. Transparency, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I want. The Variety Club ran a great Christmas party for special children every year. Have done for years. And the funds to make that happen come from the members. They have the Variety Club Bash, you know. They have functions, parties, balls, all sorts of things. People who expect nothing in return for their involvement in the Variety Club. You see, the Variety Club is a charity. It's definitely not a business. And I say again, there's nothing wrong with it being a business. I just think it should be up front. Nothing wrong with a business. Let's just have transparency. Pete, have I got another second or two? I see around hay, you know, make hay while the sun shines. If you're driving from South Australia to New South Wales, you always try to make hay while the sun shines. Around hay, we are paying Aboriginal communities to restore and maintain the wetlands. Sounds good, doesn't it? This is the Labor government, which is hell-bent on wrecking the economy because of their obsession with climate change and renewables. We are paying Aboriginals to restore the biggest producers of methane on the planet. Well, to put that in perspective and be totally honest with you, the biggest producers of methane would probably be termites. Then you've got the odd volcano, but wetlands, deltas and marshlands are responsible for 40% of the methane produced on planet Earth. And the ABC is so stupid that it doesn't have the smarts to even ask the question. Excuse me, Minister, we're all about this climate change thing, and a really dangerous greenhouse gas is methane. Why is the government paying Aboriginals to restore and maintain wetlands who produce all this terrible gas? Would that not be a reasonable question? Can I say happy birthday and thank you for viewing our Court of Public Opinion from the garage. It is September the 25th. Let us see who we have here. 1897. The first British bus service opens. Congratulations. 2017, Uber's license to operate is not renewed by Transport for London in the UK, citing problems with background checks. Mark Hamill, American actor, Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, was born 1951. British physician Dr. Charles Drysdale warns against the use of tobacco in a letter to the Times newspaper in one of the earliest public health announcements on the dangers of smoking. And that was back in 1878, when everyone smoked. Everyone. I still, you know, I used to smoke a pipe, and I still to this day. Did you ever smoke, Pete?
No.
I think, I sometimes see somebody with a cigar, and I think, hey, that looks pretty good. Impressive. Lethal. But the thing about a pipe was that, wonderful thing about a pipe was that it sort of gave you a sense of, it was a prop. It was a prop. You didn't inhale anything, it was just a prop. And, you know, if somebody asked you a question, you could sort of thoughtfully, you know, pack down the bowl and take out a match and strike it. You had at least 15, 20 seconds to think of an answer. It was a great prop, a pipe. And they came in so many different wonderful shapes, and let's not go there. Michael Douglas, American actor, coma, Wall Street, Jewel of the Nile, born New Brunswick, New Jersey. I used to talk to his dad all the time, Kirk Douglas. But he was born in 1944. He is a year younger than me. War of the Roses. He was in War of the Roses. Did you see that, Pete?
No.
Oh. How many times have you been married?
Me?
Yeah.
Two.
You go see War of the Roses, you never get married. Dear oh dear. Dear oh dear. Don Adams, American comedian and Emmy Award-winning actor. Get Smart. Tennessee Tuxedo, The Bill Dana Show. Inspector Gadget. Dies from complications from lymphoma. He was 82. The year was 2005. Singapore announces that it's going to be the first country in the world to use facial verification as part of its national identity scheme. 2020 was the year. Malcolm Campbell sets the world auto speed record. He usually preferred to be on water, but this time on land. 146.16 miles per hour on this day back in 1924. Walter Pidgeon, Canadian actor, Mrs. Miniver. Oh, yes, he was great. I liked Walter Pidgeon. He dies from a stroke at 87 in 1984. Christopher Reeve, the American actor, Superman, Somewhere in Time, born New York City, died 2004, but born this day in 1954. David McCallum, a Scottish American actor, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Ilya Kuryakin. He died on this day, to be more correct, he died at 90 on this day in 2023. Fletcher Christian, English sailor who led the mutiny on the Bounty, born in Eaglesfield, Cumberland in England in 1764 on this day. And one for you, Pete. Frontiersman and gunfighter.
Yes.
Wild Bill Hickok supposedly marries Calamity Jane on this day in 1873, according to Calamity Jane's daughter.
I think she was dreaming.
Apparently, she wasn't a looker, was she?
No, I don't.
I don't think Calamity. Why did they call her Calamity? I mean, you wouldn't call your daughter Calamity. We're born too late, Pete.
Yeah.
Never mind. Thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. I hope you join us on Friday, 9 o'clock till 12, live streaming. Just go to jeremycordeaux.com. By the way, if you go to jeremycordeaux.com, if you Google it, not Google it, you go on Safari and, how do you find it?
Yeah, you Google it.
You Google it. All right, you go jeremycordeaux.com. You'll see all of the shows that we've done here in the garage. They're all down the bottom. You can have a look at those and a few other bits and pieces around the garage. But the live streaming show with interesting guests, I promise you, on Friday, 9 o'clock till 12, jeremycordeaux.com, and you're free to call us and have your say about what you will. Peter Clayton and I will be back Tuesday next week, Wednesday next week, and of course on Friday. Believe in yourself and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.